You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step by step how to meet and seduce beautiful women. Whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now. Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I'm your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. And today's episode, well, if you heard last week, if you've been following along and listening every week, I went to Burning Man. Burning Man is a festival that lasts 1 week long in Black Rock City in northern Nevada. Some people call it an experiment in society. 70,000 people go there every year to build a city, a temporary city. They go there to Black Rock City and they bring everything they can to build art, build an area to live, and they bring gifts for other people. It's based on a gifting economy. So there's no money exchange there. There's no bartering exchange there. It's not about trading. It's just going there, providing for yourself, and also offering a gift to the community. So some people set up bars, some people set up and offered food, other people offered experiences like massages. You can even go into an orgy tent if you so choose. The camp that I was part of, we had this $20,000 LED screen that was just massive when you played videos on it. So we were offering that experience. And just it's a really cool time. If you're interested, I suggest you go. If you're not interested, then don't go. Really, I'm not encouraging people to go because if you're not interested at all, you're not going to have a good time. It can be, I love it, and I still have a very tough time going just because it's hard. It's a week long where you're just living in a very tough climate because you're in this desert, or really you're in this, what was once a lake bed, and it's all dried up and you're basically swimming in dust for a whole week and you're just surviving out there. So if you're like, no, I'm not interested, then honestly you shouldn't go. But if you do have a slight interest, then I do suggest that you check it out because those who have a slight interest usually go and have a really, really good time. So think about that. Now, why am I doing this episode about, well, it's not really about Burning Man. It's really just about my one big takeaway. And the reason why I have a takeaway every year when I go, this is my second year. I did an episode a few years ago that talked about that, some lessons. It's just because it's a really interesting time. You go, and you don't have any cell phone service. And I didn't work because you really shouldn't bring any electronics at all. People bring their cameras. I don't know how. I did bring my phone to take some pictures, but it's just not the environment to do that because it's so dusty. So I basically take a week off, I disconnect, and in that time of being disconnected, imagine not looking at your phone or doing work or being on a computer for a week. Can imagine that's pretty long time and pretty intense. What could happen from that? Well, what happens, at least to me, is you start to think a lot more. You start to get a little bit more creative. You offer yourself time to just kind of let your brain rest, which allows the creativity to come in, allows deeper thoughts to come in, and think about things that you might not think about normally because you get distracted very easily. You're looking at Instagram, you're looking at your emails and your text messages and your dating apps, and you're dealing with work and friends and family and things. And so just imagine not having any of that there. Well, there's no distraction. So you have this free thought. It's very cool. So I want to share one of the thoughts that came to mind, which is kind of a personal one, but also something I've actually talked about quite a bit on the podcast. And so now it's getting its own episode. And the lesson that I learned from Burning Man was this idea of trusting the process. Now I'm going to say this. This idea didn't come because of something that happened at Burning Man. It's just Burning Man was the kind of place or time that I ended up having this, I wouldn't call epiphany, so to speak, but a deep thought or a deep notion. This idea of trusting the process. Now, for me, I'll be vulnerable here. I'll let you know a little bit on the inside of my head. I do have a slight anxiety, not to the point where I'm on meds. I don't take medication, and I haven't really been diagnosed with anxiety professionally or medically. But of course, I do have a slight anxiety that, always has me wondering, probably like most people in the world, probably like you, is everything going to be okay? You know what I mean? Did you ever sit there and think am I making the right choices in life? Am I doing the thing I need to be doing? Now, that wasn't really the question that I was asking myself. I've known for a long time that being a dating coach, helping you is my mission. So it wasn't so much I was questioning that, but it was more on the micro levels. You make these little decisions every single day and you question yourself if it's good or it's bad. And, I'm 33 at this point, and I kind of have come to this point where I've made a lot of decisions, right? And when I'm 50, there'll be even more decisions. Every day you make decisions. You're making thousands of decisions every single year. More than that, probably. And, at 33 at this point, I wonder, have I been making the right decisions? Yeah, the biggest answer is yes, I believe I have. Some decisions I made weren't the right ones throughout the years, but everything's a learning lesson. So you'll kind of look back and you say, yeah, I remember that one time I made that decision. That wasn't such a good one. But you learned from it. So it's not about analyzing whether I did something right or wrong per se, but it's about thinking have I made enough of the right decisions to get to the point where I want to be? And really, I can say yes. And I was very happy about that. And I thought, what could stop me from thinking any longer if certain decisions, micro, macro, are the right ones or the wrong ones? Well, I thought I've done so far so good. To my standard, by the way, not society's standards, not to anyone else's standards, not to my parents' standards, not to my friends' standards, but to me. And really, I hope that, that hits something with you as I say that. It's, are you happy where you're at with you? And so I think about this concept of I really just got to trust the process more. The process of the path that I'm on. And I want you to think about that as well. How can you trust the process of the path that you're on for meeting and dating women? And I bring this up not only because it was something I was thinking about at Burning Man, but because I really talk about this concept quite a bit on the podcast. This idea of trusting the process and moving forward. So what is the process? Well, the process is the things that you learn from this podcast, maybe from my program Hooked, maybe from other YouTube videos that I put out. But you listen to this advice, hopefully you're taking it. But a lot of guys, they'll try one thing and maybe it doesn't work out. They'll use a line that I tell them to use and it just doesn't work out that well. But really, it's not about just trying something once and seeing if it works. Changing who you are as a person takes time, becoming that more attractive guy, building out your personality in such a way that you become more comfortable in front of women so you can talk to more women, so you can attract more women. And so I ask you to trust the process because that's what I had to do when I was learning this stuff. I said, you know what? I'm just going to learn some stuff. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to try, and I'm just going to trust that it's all going to work out. But the only way that it was all going to work out was if I didn't give up. Okay, so that was the big thing there. It's I cannot give up. I got to trust the process and just let it happen. Because I'm giving you the tools. This is stuff that works. Okay, this is not guessing games. This is stuff that I know works. It's worked for me. It's worked for my clients. It's worked for guys who just listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube channel, who get my program Hooked. I know because they've told me that it works. So these other guys, maybe you, who's skeptical, not sure, you haven't really gone out, you haven't used any of the advice, any of the material. All I ask is that you trust the process and see what happens. You got to look at it like an experiment. Just experiment. See what happens. See what happens when you try a new technique. See what happens when you decide to bring up a specific topic of conversation with the girl. Let's even take it back 5 notches. See what happens when you just go up to a girl and say hi. Look at it like an experiment, as if whatever happens doesn't matter. When you're an actual scientist and you're doing an experiment, you may have a prediction, but you're not necessarily rooting one way or the other. You're just kind of seeing what happens because you don't have any control over it. You only have so much control. The only control you have is just doing the stuff that you've been told works and then seeing what happens and then rinsing and repeating. trusting the process. And I get it. Listen, this concept is not easy. I know you're not going to just stop listening to this episode and go, oh, well, I'll trust the process and now I feel better. No, you're going to deal with real human emotions when it doesn't work out, when you maybe get rejected, when, you say something and you feel the emotion of embarrassment, or maybe you feel anger because, you've been trying all this stuff and nothing's working for you, right? That's going to happen. But then you come back to the mindset that I'm teaching you on this episode of trusting the process. Because here's the thing. The more and more you put energy and effort into something, you will get out, okay? You will get something out of it. Of course, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We don't want to do that, okay? So we want to trust the process, but we want to do it in a way where we're still proactive. Okay, we're not just going to nilly-willy just go out there. It's not like you're learning, to play basketball and you're like, well, I'm just going to shoot this ball and near the hoop and just trust the process that eventually will go in. Well, that's not really the smart way to go about it, right? Because that might not happen. You need to still work on your skill set. So it's about always adapting and maneuvering and trying new things and experimenting while trusting the process. But then again, that's what the process is. The process is trying new stuff, going back to old episodes, using the advice, using the techniques, going out and making a schedule for yourself to go out and approach more women. Okay? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's going out there, trying stuff, experimenting, switching things up, and not giving up. And hopefully even we can expand this into your life, like I've been talked about earlier, right? Is this idea of trusting the process of your life like you're making the right decisions. It's an interesting balance of you just make the best decisions you can. You don't stay still, right? I think the whole idea behind trust the process is movement. I preach a lot about movement of just keep moving forward. Don't stagnate. Don't sit here debating every single second. Will this advice work for me? Is this the right decision? Is this the right thing to do? Just do it. Just take some action. Just go for it. See what happens. You're going to learn more from taking action than you ever will from just sitting there thinking if you're making the right decision. Just do it. Okay, just do it. Just try it out. See what happens. Trust the process. I'm really hoping that this motivates you. That's, really the whole thing on this episode is motivating you to do something. A lot of guys listen to this for entertainment. The entertainment comes in the form of fantasy as you listen to advice, you listen to this podcast, and you think of what could be. And there's an entertainment factor in that. You kind of fantasize of oh, what if it works and all that. But a lot of people don't really do it. Really. And I want you to. I want you to go out there. I don't want people to just listen to this podcast because it's entertaining. I want you to get results. So you got to go out there and do something. And if you don't know where to start, don't worry. I got a program. It's called Hooked. You can check it out at getherhooked.com. And I want you to get some more information on it right now. Hey, it's Trip Kramer. How would you like to be the man that women are naturally drawn to and command the animalistic magnetism that makes women desperately compete to become your lover? It's not enough to attract her. You've got to get her hooked. And that's why I'm inviting you to learn how to create an amazing abundance in your dating life that will make your friends grab you and demand to know what you're doing differently. You'll learn how to turn a female friend into a lover, how to set up a first date that naturally leads to sex. You'll even learn to get your ex-girlfriend or wife back if that's what you want. This program, Hooked, will get you everything you need to enjoy the sex life and dating life you know you deserve. Go to getherhooked.com to learn how to get a woman completely addicted to you. 100% money back guaranteed. Getherhooked.com.